My parents had taken me to church when I was younger, but for some reason fell out of church. As I started getting older, I started going to church with some neighbors down the street. And then I joined the Air Force, then got stationed over in England, and was asked to take a bus trip to a Christian concert in London. And we were stationed right out of Oxford. And on that bus trip, I gave myself to the Lord. After that time of giving myself to the Lord, I was hit by the accuser. My roommate was doing a lot of drugs, and they came in and busted our room. Then I ended up getting busted for drugs that weren't mine. And I knew then that that was Satan, the accuser, trying to get on me. But at the same time, they stuck me in the environment with everybody that did drugs, and I ended up doing drugs. I took a bad fall, which ended up causing a lot of neck and back damage. And once out of the Air Force, I ended up finding myself going from recreational drugs and was put on heavy pain narcotics. I found myself going through 2 marriages, had a son on my first marriage, and then ended up finding my wife, Debbie, several years later. The blessing that God gave me was my wife that grew up in the church, grew up loving God and serving God. My oldest son gave himself to the Lord when he was 10 years old. My youngest son was about that age, and I was able to be there and dunk him with the pastor on his baptism. My prayer is that someday I'll be able to do that with my oldest son, because I don't know that he's ever confirmed his faith with God, even though I know he loves God. We had a great church family back in Arizona. We came out here, and it took us almost 3.5 years to find a church where I could serve and that we were comfortable of being in. Just a month before finding that church, I had a major breakdown. The accuser was working really hard on me, came real close to losing my family, my sons, forever. But my cry at the end of all that was that my family would start going to church and following God again. We found that church, and every step in my life has gotten better. There's still challenges, but God forgives us. And my sons, both of them, times where I have felt that I have failed them the worst, they still show me all the love that God shows me. And that's a total blessing.